Hello, my English learners. Welcome to the English Fluency Teacher channel, the place where you learn, grow, and improve your English in the simplest and enjoyable way. I am so happy to have you here today. Whether you're listening while walking, driving, cooking, or just relaxing, I want to say thank you for joining me in this podcast. It means a lot to me, and I'm excited to help you on your English learning journey. In today's episode, we're going to talk about something that many English learners struggle with: understanding native speakers. I know it can be tough, especially when native speakers talk so quickly, use slang, or speak in ways that can be confusing. You might be asking yourself, why is it so hard for me to understand English speakers? Or, how do I keep up with their conversations? Don't worry, my friend. You are not alone. Many learners feel the same way. But here's the good news. You can definitely improve your ability to understand native speakers. And in today's episode, I'm going to help you step by step. We'll break everything down, and I'll share some powerful tips that will make it easier for you to understand native speakers and to feel more confident in your English listening skills. So, let's begin. First, let's talk about why understanding native speakers can be difficult. You might think that just knowing the vocabulary or grammar rules is enough, but that's not the whole story. Understanding spoken English, especially from native speakers, is different because of things like speed, accents, slang, and connected speech. Don't worry if those words sound confusing right now. We're going to talk about all of them. Why is it so hard to understand native speakers? Have you ever had a conversation with a native English speaker and felt completely lost? You might have caught a few words here and there, but the rest of it seemed like a blur. This is a very common experience for English learners, and it happens for a few reasons. First, native speakers often speak quickly, and they don't always pronounce words clearly. They might blend words together, drop sounds, or use contractions like I'm instead of I am, which can make it hard to understand. For example, when native speakers say gonna instead of going to, or wanna instead of want to, it sounds different from what you might have learned in textbooks or during lessons. Second, accents and dialects can make it more challenging to understand different English speakers. English is spoken all around the world, and every region has its own way of speaking. Whether it's the American accent, the British accent, the Australian accent, or any other, each has its own unique sounds, pronunciation, and rhythm. When you're listening to someone with an accent that's different from what you're used to, it can feel like they're speaking a different language, even though it's still English. Another reason why understanding native speakers is tough is that they often use slang and informal language. Slang words and phrases are common in everyday conversations, but they are not usually taught in traditional English classes. For example, if someone says, "What's up?" they're not asking for your opinion on the weather. They're just saying hello or how are you. Understanding these casual expressions is essential if you want to keep up with native speakers. Lastly, there's something called connected speech. This is when words are pronounced together so closely that it's hard to separate them. For instance, when a native speaker says, "I'm gonna go," the words are linked together, and it might sound like "I'm gonna go" instead of saying each word separately. If you're not familiar with this, it can make listening to fast speech challenging. But don't worry, all of these things are normal. Native speakers do not always speak perfectly, and with some practice, you'll be able to understand them more clearly. It takes time, but it's completely possible. And in today's episode, we're going to go over some practical tips and techniques to help you improve. Tip 1. Listen to real conversations. One of the best ways to get better at understanding native speakers is to listen to real conversations. This means listening to people speaking naturally, not just recordings of slow or scripted speech. Why? Because native speakers don't speak like textbook recordings. They speak quickly, use slang, and connect their words together in ways that might be new to you. So how can you do this? Start by listening to podcasts or YouTube videos in English. Choose topics that interest you, whether it's about sports or even cooking. The more you listen to natural conversations, the better you will get at understanding how native speakers talk. Here's a tip. Don't focus too much on understanding every single word. Instead, try to understand the general meaning of the conversation. The goal is to get used to the speed and rhythm of natural speech. If you don't understand a word, that's okay. Just keep listening and try to catch the main idea. Also, don't be afraid to rewind and listen again. It's completely normal to need to hear something more than once. Over time, your brain will start to get used to the sounds and patterns of spoken English, and you'll begin to understand more. Tip 2. Pay attention to accents. As I mentioned earlier, there are many different English accents, and each one has its own unique pronunciation and rhythm. The way people speak in London sounds different from the way people speak in New York or Sydney. If you're struggling to understand a particular accent, it's important to practice with that specific accent. If you know you'll be speaking with people from a particular region, like the United States or the UK, try to focus on listening to that accent more. For example, you could watch TV shows or movies that feature characters from that region, or you could listen to podcasts that have speakers from that area. The more exposure you get to a particular accent, the easier it will be to understand it. And remember, don't be discouraged if you can't understand everything right away. It takes time, and the more you practice, the more natural it will feel. Tip 3. Focus on the key words. When native speakers talk, they often speak quickly, but don't worry if you miss a few words here and there. The key to understanding is to focus on the important words in a sentence. Native speakers often leave out small words like is, are, or the, or they may shorten them in casual speech. These small words are important for grammar, but they don't always affect the overall meaning of what's being said. Instead of stressing about understanding every word, try to focus on the key words that carry the meaning. These are usually the nouns, names of things or people, verbs, action words, and adjectives, describing words. For example, if someone says, "I'm going to the store to buy some groceries," you don't need to understand to or some, just focus on store, buy, and groceries. That will help you get the main idea. You can practice this by listening to a conversation and trying to pick out the most important words. Then, try to summarize what the conversation was about in your own words. This technique will help you improve your understanding of native speakers, especially when they speak fast or use unfamiliar vocabulary. Tip 4. Use subtitles. If you're watching movies, TV shows, or YouTube videos, use subtitles to help you understand what's being said. Subtitles are especially helpful because they allow you to see the words as you hear them, which helps you match spoken words with written text. This is a great way to improve both your listening and reading skills. Here's a helpful strategy. Start with subtitles in your native language if you need extra help. Once you feel comfortable, switch to English subtitles. This will allow you to see the exact words being spoken in English, and it will help you get used to how the words are pronounced. Eventually, you can challenge yourself by watching without subtitles at all. This will help you focus more on listening and understanding the spoken words without any distractions. One thing to remember is that not all subtitles are perfect. Sometimes they don't match exactly what the speakers are saying, especially with slang or informal language. But don't worry. Just keep listening and use the subtitles as a guide, not as a crutch. Over time, you'll start to understand more without needing them. Tip 5. Break the speech into chunks. When you're listening to a native speaker, it can feel overwhelming because they speak in long sentences without stopping. But the truth is, native speakers tend to break their speech into smaller chunks. This is especially true in conversations, where speakers often pause between ideas or phrases. To improve your understanding, practice by breaking the speech into chunks. When you listen to a sentence, try to identify the natural pauses. For example, listen to a sentence like, "I went to the store, and then I saw my friend, and we decided to grab some coffee." There are clear breaks between "I went to the store," "I saw my friend," and "we decided to grab some coffee." These are natural breaks in speech that can make it easier for you to understand. You can practice by listening to a short conversation and pausing it after each chunk. Try to understand the meaning of each part before moving on to the next one. This will help you process information in smaller pieces, making it easier to understand fast speech. Tip 6. Shadowing. Now, let's talk about a technique called shadowing. Shadowing is when you listen to a native speaker and repeat what they say immediately, trying to match their speed, rhythm, and pronunciation as closely as possible. It's like you're their shadow, copying their every word. This is a powerful technique because it trains both your ears and mouth. By listening to and repeating the sentences you hear, you'll become more familiar with how native speakers speak. You'll also improve your pronunciation, rhythm, and intonation, which are all important for understanding spoken English. To get started with shadowing, choose a short video or audio clip that features natural speech. Listen to a sentence or two, then pause and repeat exactly what you heard. Try to copy the way the speaker says each word, paying attention to their tone and how they stress certain words. This will help you sound more natural and make it easier to understand other speakers who talk the same way. Don't worry if you can't keep up at first. Shadowing takes practice, and it's okay if you don't get everything right the first time. Keep practicing, and over time, your understanding of native speakers will improve. Tip 7. Practice listening to different accents. As I mentioned earlier, accents can make it harder to understand native speakers. But this doesn't mean you should avoid them. In fact, the more you expose yourself to different accents, the better you'll become at understanding a variety of English speakers. Start by listening to a range of accents from different regions or countries. You could listen to British, American, Australian, or even African English accents. Each accent has its own unique sounds and ways of pronouncing words. By practicing with different accents, you'll train your brain to understand English in a variety of ways. If you're not sure where to start, you could try watching TV shows or movies from different countries. For example, you could watch a British movie, then an American one, then an Australian one. Listen carefully to how the characters speak and try to notice any differences in their pronunciation. Over time, you'll find it easier to understand people from different parts of the world. Tip 8. Slow down the speed. If you're struggling to keep up with the speed of native speakers, there's no harm in slowing things down a bit. Many podcasts, YouTube videos, and audiobooks allow you to adjust the speed of the audio. Start by listening to content at a slower speed, and as you get more comfortable, gradually increase the speed. By slowing things down, you'll be able to catch more words and understand the speaker's tone and rhythm more clearly. Once you feel confident at a slower pace, challenge yourself by increasing the speed just a little bit at a time. This gradual process will help you keep up with faster native speakers in the future. Tip 9. Don't be afraid to ask for clarification. Finally, remember that it's okay to ask for clarification if you don't understand something. Native speakers are usually very understanding and will be happy to repeat what they said or explain it in a different way. Don't be embarrassed if you don't understand. Everyone has been there. If you're in a conversation and you didn't catch something, just say, "Sorry, could you say that again?" Or, "I didn't quite understand. Could you explain it differently?" Most people will appreciate that you're trying to improve your English, and they'll be happy to help. Tip 10. Use context clues. One of the best ways to understand native speakers is to use context clues. When you're listening, the situation, the topic, and even the body language of the speaker can give you a lot of information about what's being said. Sometimes, if you don't understand a specific word or phrase, try to figure it out based on the overall meaning of the conversation. For example, if you're in a conversation about food and someone says something like, "I'm going to grab a bite," even if you're not sure about the exact meaning of bite, you can guess from the context that they're talking about eating. Context clues are the little hints in the conversation that help you fill in the gaps when you don't understand every word. This technique works in a lot of situations, not just with food or daily life topics. For example, if you're listening to a story and someone says, "The car broke down and we had to call for a tow," you can guess that tow means help with getting the car to a repair shop, even if you don't know the exact definition of the word. Over time, your brain will become better at picking up on these clues, and it will make understanding native speakers much easier. Tip 11. Be patient with yourself. It's important to be patient with yourself when it comes to understanding native speakers. Language learning is a process, and it takes time to adjust to different speeds, accents, and speech patterns. It's completely normal to feel like you're not understanding everything right away, but don't let that discourage you. Remember, fluency doesn't happen overnight. Every time you listen to a native speaker, you're making progress, even if you don't realize it. The key is to keep practicing and to keep pushing yourself. Over time, your brain will start to recognize the sounds and structures of spoken English, and it will become easier to understand. If you ever feel frustrated, Take a break and remind yourself of how far you've come. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. Celebrate the small victories, like understanding a sentence you couldn't before or catching a word that used to be unclear. These moments add up, and before you know it, you'll be much more comfortable understanding native speakers. Tip 12. Practice with listening comprehension exercises. If you're looking for a structured way to improve your listening skills, listening comprehension exercises are a great way to go. Many language learning apps, websites, and books offer exercises where you can listen to a recording and then answer questions based on what you heard. These exercises are designed to help you practice understanding different types of spoken English, from conversations to lectures to news broadcasts. They help you focus on listening for specific information, which can be useful in real conversations as well. You can find a variety of listening comprehension exercises at different difficulty levels, so start with something that matches your current skills and gradually increase the difficulty as you improve. These exercises will not only improve your ability to understand native speakers, but they'll also help you learn to listen for details, which is important for real-world communication. Tip 13. Improve your vocabulary. The more words you know, the easier it will be to understand native speakers. If you're only familiar with basic vocabulary, it can be hard to keep up with fast-paced conversations, especially when native speakers use idiomatic expressions or slang. One way to improve your vocabulary is to learn new words every day. Make a list of words that you encounter while listening to podcasts, watching TV shows, or reading, and then look up their meanings. Focus on learning words that are commonly used in everyday conversations. Over time, you'll notice that you're able to recognize more words and phrases when native speakers use them. Another effective way to improve your vocabulary is by learning collocations, which are groups of words that often go together. For example, instead of just learning the word make, learn common phrases like make a decision, make a mistake, or make an effort. This will help you understand how words fit together in real conversations. Tip 14. Get comfortable with idiomatic expressions. Native speakers often use idiomatic expressions in casual conversations, and these expressions can be confusing if you're not familiar with them. An idiom is a phrase whose meaning is different from the literal meaning of the words in it. For example, it's raining cats and dogs doesn't mean animals are falling from the sky. It means it's raining heavily. While it might be hard to understand idiomatic expressions at first, they are an important part of natural speech. To get comfortable with them, start by learning some of the most common idioms. You can do this by listening to conversations and paying attention to expressions that you don't understand. Look them up and practice using them in your own speech. Over time, you'll find that you start recognizing idioms more easily, and your ability to understand native speakers will improve. Tip 15. Practice active listening. It's important to practice active listening. Active listening means that you're fully engaged and focused on the speaker rather than just passively hearing the words. When you listen actively, you pay attention to the speaker's tone, body language, and the context of the conversation, which will help you understand the meaning more clearly. You can practice active listening by trying to repeat what the speaker says in your own words. This is called paraphrasing, and it's a great way to check your understanding. If you can repeat what you've heard accurately, it means you've understood the message. Active listening also means that you don't interrupt the speaker. Let them finish their thought before responding. This will help you catch all the details and make it easier to understand the full message. Tip 16. Join conversation groups. One of the best ways to improve your listening and speaking skills is by joining conversation groups. Conversation groups are a great way to practice real-world conversations with other learners or even with native speakers. You can find these groups online or in person, depending on where you live. Many apps, websites, and social media platforms host online conversation groups where you can practice English with others from all around the world. The great thing about these groups is that they give you a chance to practice listening to different accents and speaking in a relaxed, non-judgmental environment. Plus, you'll get feedback from other people, which can help you improve your listening and speaking abilities. When you participate in conversation groups, try to focus not only on speaking, but also on listening actively. Make sure you understand what others are saying before jumping in. This will help you become more comfortable with the speed of real conversations and improve your ability to understand native speakers. Tip 17. Focus on stress and intonation. In English, the stress and intonation of a sentence can change the meaning of what's being said. Stress refers to which syllables or words are emphasized in a sentence, and intonation refers to the rise and fall of the voice while speaking. These are important parts of spoken English, and they can sometimes make it tricky to understand what's being said. For example, if someone says, "I didn't say you stole my book," depending on which word you stress, the meaning of the sentence can change. If you say, "I didn't say you stole my book," it means someone else might have stolen it. But if you say, "I didn't say you stole my book," it means you didn't speak those words. To improve your understanding of stress and intonation, try listening to native speakers and paying attention to which words they stress in each sentence. Notice how the pitch of their voice rises and falls. You can also practice repeating sentences, copying their stress and intonation. This will help you understand the natural rhythm of spoken English and improve your ability to follow conversations. Tip 18. Use transcripts and listen again. Sometimes it's helpful to use transcripts to help you understand what native speakers are saying. Many podcasts, YouTube videos, and audio resources offer transcripts that show the exact words being spoken. You can use these transcripts to follow along while you listen. Here's a great practice method. First, listen to the conversation or audio without the transcript. Try to catch as much as you can. After listening, check the transcript to see what you missed. Then, listen again while reading along with the transcript. This will help you connect the sounds you're hearing with the words you see, making it easier to understand spoken English in the future. Once you get more comfortable with this, try to listen to the conversation again without the transcript and see how much more you can understand. Over time, you'll notice that you rely less on the transcript and understand more from just listening. Tip 19. Learn to recognize fillers. Native speakers often use filler words in their conversations. These are words or sounds that don't add much meaning, but are used to fill pauses or give the speaker time to think. Some common fillers in English are words like, you know, and like. At first, these fillers can be distracting or confusing because they may make the conversation sound less clear. But don't worry. Fillers are normal in everyday speech, and they're often used to keep the conversation going. Recognizing them will help you focus more on the important parts of the conversation. The key is to not get too distracted by fillers. Instead, focus on the main points the speaker is trying to make. Once you start recognizing fillers, you'll be able to filter them out and focus on the content of the conversation. Tip 20. Watch TED Talks and other educational videos. If you're looking for high-quality, clear English speech, TED Talks are an excellent resource. TED Talks feature speakers from all over the world talking about interesting and thought-provoking topics. The speakers in TED Talks tend to speak clearly and at a moderate pace, which makes it easier for English learners to follow along. You can start by watching TED Talks with English subtitles, just like with movies and TV shows. After you feel comfortable, challenge yourself to watch without subtitles to improve your listening skills. TED Talks also offer transcripts for most videos, so you can follow along and learn new vocabulary. The topics covered in TED Talks are often engaging and informative, and they expose you to a wide range of vocabulary. By watching TED Talks regularly, you can improve both your listening skills and your ability to understand complex ideas in English. Tip 21. Focus on practical vocabulary. When you're trying to understand native speakers, it helps to focus on practical vocabulary that's used in everyday conversations. While it's great to learn advanced vocabulary, you'll find that native speakers use common words and phrases in their daily lives. By focusing on these practical words, you'll be able to understand more of what's being said in real conversations. Start by learning vocabulary related to daily activities, such as food, travel, work, hobbies, and shopping. Practice using these words in sentences so you can recognize them when native speakers use them. This will help you feel more comfortable in everyday conversations and make it easier to understand what others are saying. Tip 22. Listen to different types of audio. To improve your understanding of native speakers, it's a good idea to listen to different types of audio. You can listen to news broadcasts, interviews, podcasts, radio shows, and even YouTube videos. Each of these types of audio will expose you to different speaking styles and vocabulary, which will help you become more versatile in your listening. For example, news broadcasts tend to use more formal language, while podcasts or YouTube videos might be more casual and conversational. By listening to a variety of sources, you'll get a more well-rounded understanding of how native speakers communicate in different contexts. Tip 23. Keep a listening journal. One helpful tip for improving your listening skills is to keep a listening journal. In this journal, write down new words, phrases, and expressions that you hear while listening to native speakers. You can also make notes about the context in which they were used and how the speaker said them. By keeping track of the words and phrases that are most difficult for you to understand, you'll be able to focus on learning them. You can even try using these words in your own speech to practice and reinforce what you've learned. This will help you build your vocabulary and improve your ability to understand native speakers over time. Tip 24. Use technology and apps to improve your listening skills. In today's world, There's an amazing variety of apps and technology available that can help you in improving your English listening skills. These tools can give you the opportunity to practice listening anytime, anywhere, making it easier to fit practice into your busy life. Some of the best apps for improving listening skills include language learning apps like Duolingo, Babbel, and Memories, which focus on building your vocabulary and listening comprehension. These apps often feature audio clips and quizzes to test your understanding of spoken English. Another great option is Anki, a flashcard app that can help you memorize new words and phrases that you hear in conversations or while watching videos. But it's not just language apps that can help. There are many podcast apps like Apple Podcasts that offer a wide range of English content at different levels. Whether you prefer listening to news, stories, interviews, or podcasts about specific topics like science or business, these apps give you endless opportunities to practice listening to native speakers. For more immersive practice, there are also apps designed specifically for listening to English conversations like Hello Talk and Tandem. These apps connect you with native speakers who can help you practice listening and speaking in real conversations. It's like having a language partner wherever you go. The great thing about using technology is that it makes learning interactive and personalized. You can adjust the speed of the audio, repeat difficult sections, or even slow down the conversation to make sure you catch every word. It's an excellent way to track your progress and practice at your own pace. Thank you so much for spending your time with me today on English Fluency Teacher Channel. I truly hope you enjoyed this episode and, more importantly, found the tips useful as you work on mastering your listening skills. Remember, understanding native speakers doesn't have to feel out of reach. It's all about practicing consistently and giving yourself the patience and kindness you deserve as you grow. Every step, no matter how small it seems, is a step forward. Celebrate your progress every chance you get because each effort brings you closer to fluency. To quickly recap, today we covered why native speakers can sometimes be challenging, to understand and shared practical steps to make it easier for you. From listening to real conversations and shadowing, to breaking speech into chunks and learning to identify accents, we've explored tools that can set you up for success. Don't forget, practice really is the key. The more you work these strategies into your routine, the more natural and confident you'll begin to feel. Now it's your turn to take what you've learned today and put it into action. Try rewinding that favorite scene from a TV show to listen for connected speech, or spend a few minutes shadowing a clip you love. Every bit you practice makes a difference, and consistency is your best ally. If you found this episode helpful, I'd love it if you could share it with someone else who's learning English. Supporting each other makes the language learning process even more rewarding and fun. After all, we're stronger when we learn together. And don't be shy about reaching out. I'd really love to hear from you. Which tips are you most excited to try? Or do you have your own strategies for improving listening skills that you'd like to share? Whether it's a message, a comment, or even a social media post, feel free to connect with me and share your thoughts. If you tag me, I'll be sure to cheer you on and celebrate your progress. Lastly, don't forget to subscribe to the English Fluency Teacher channel so you won't miss out on any new episodes. Next time, we'll be tackling another engaging topic that's sure to help you to improve your English speaking skills and build even more confidence. I'm here cheering you on every step of the way, and I can't wait to continue this learning journey together. Thank you again for being here with me and investing in your English skills. I'm so proud of the effort you're putting in and all the progress you're making. Believe in yourself and enjoy the process because you're doing great. Until next time, keep practicing, stay patient, and remember, you've got this. Take care, my friend, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.